good morning to you. So let's begin with the chill between India and Canada. Are we seeing a bit of a thaw there now, given that the minister has traveled to India, again, as we said, focusing on that rebuilding process?
Absolutely. I mean, this has been months of effort, really starting before the G7, but kicking off in earnest after the G7 in June, where Mark Carney and Narendra Modi both met. They had that bilateral meeting. In that meeting, and after that meeting, they agreed to push forward these efforts, a directive to their cabinets, to their ministers, to begin trying to thaw relations. We've seen sideline meetings at major international forums, for example, the United Nations, where Anand was last month. She met with her counterpart there. We've seen the National Security Intelligence Advisor meet with her counterpart in India. This has been a very concerted effort over the last, call it 5 months or so, in order to get to this point where you are seeing a joint statement being signed. I think what's important to highlight is that this is a roadmap going forward, but it is not a trade agreement. It's not even a trade partnership. This is not a document that is going to ensure that these two countries are working together for years to come. This is an attempt to move past where things were. And if you think to where we were just last year, relations were at their lowest. Justin Trudeau had just expelled Indian diplomats. We saw India do the same thing to Canadian diplomats. The ongoing RCMP investigation is still happening, but it surrounds transnational repression. It surrounds a campaign of violence, extortion, even murder that Indian government agents have been linked to by the RCMP, or agents of the Indian government is perhaps a better way to frame that. And so this is something that is quite significant. It is ambitious. It also isn't necessarily clear where the government is prioritizing. They focus on a lot of different sectors: AI, critical minerals, agriculture, general trade and business investment. They talk about energy as well. What we didn't hear there from Minister Anand was a clear plan for how they move forward. There was a question about whether or not talks were going to continue, or talks were happening about establishing a trade mission, about establishing a trade agreement with India, and she skirted that answer. There's also immense political sensitivity around this issue, because the reason that relations between the two countries collapsed was not, unfounded. We saw the assassination of a Canadian on Canadian soil that was linked to agents of the Indian government. This was something that was very significant, and still now there are a lot of questions, especially from the Sikh community, about how Canada is moving forward here. I spoke with the Sikh Federation of Canada yesterday. They called this a betrayal of the last 2 years, and questioned whether India had done enough, especially publicly, to assert that it wouldn't continue to engage in transnational repression or in foreign interference in Canada, both things we saw highlighted in the foreign interference inquiry. And so it's a very, very delicate line that Canada is walking, and you saw the minister multiple times in this press conference refer to the fact that security has been at the forefront of all of these conversations and continues to be. But to the point of critics, we still haven't necessarily seen a public acknowledgement from the Indian government on that side of the discussion.
All right, Colton Praill for us at the Bureau in Ottawa. Colton, will check in with you throughout the morning for more. Thank you so much.